Authority of March 21st, 2023. It is 4:03, and we'll have our meeting, we'll call to order. We'll have a roll call taken, which I'm sure has been done, or
Yep, got all that done.
all
Thank you.
set. Do we have an approval then of the agenda in front of us?
Mr.
We all have an
Chair,
agenda?
We do.
Mr. Chair, if we could amend the agenda to include approval of the fiscal year 24 budget, I would appreciate that. I forgot to put it in the packet when I sent it out.
An amendment to approve the 24 budget?
To amend the agenda to include that as an item.
Yeah. All right. Do we need a motion to that effect? I would believe so.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
And seconded. Any discussion? You want to call the roll, or how do you want to do it?
Who
Everybody
seconded?
say,
Corinne?
Corinne did, okay.
all right. Moved and seconded. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. All right, and that's approved then. That's the amendment to the agenda, correct?
Yes, and
Now-
that'll go under new business after the development agreement.
All righty. Now we'll go with the approval of the agenda. I need a motion to that.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
And seconded. Any discussion over the agenda? All in favor say aye. All
Aye.
opposed? All right, agenda
Sorry,
goes.
can I, who've moved and seconded? I'm not.
That's the seconder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who?
Okay.
Who made the motion? You didn't?
Shelley?
Okay. All right,
and
thank you.
Megan? All set?
Yep,
All right, moving along to public hearing. We have none scheduled, correct?
correct.
Then we'll move to correspondence. This time, the chair will ask if any correspondence has been received to be included in the record. Is there any correspondence?
No.
No correspondence. Okay, then on approval of the minutes. At this time, the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority can act to approve the January 3rd, 2023 meeting minutes. I believe a motion would be to take care of that if we could, to approve the minutes.
I motion to approve.
There you go. It wasn't that difficult.
Second.
Seconded by Shelley, probably.
Yes.
Okay, any discussion over that? There you go. And then, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and motion approved. Down to financial reports. This time, the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority can act to approve the financial reports. Now, Mr. Bradford, can you take over from there?
Sure, so you had a balance sheet and a revenue and expense report in the packet. The balance sheet shows a significant amount of funds on it, but that's because we have to pay out the tax capture. I don't pay those out until after I settle with the county treasurer and get paid out, so I normally do that sometime in late June if possible, although sometimes it stretches into August of the next year, just depends on when I do the reporting. So that's what most of those funds are on there. For the revenue and expenditure report, you can see there was no activity for the month of February. We did get some money in March from the developer of the River Street Hotel, but for their Brownfield plan and for their Act 381 work plan and for some administration fees, but that doesn't reflect on this financial statement because it's only through the end of February. Are there any questions?
Any questions out of the commission? No. No, not from our end.
Give you a motion to approve or accept the
Financial
reports.
report? Do we get a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
And seconded?
Second.
You get that, Britt?
Yep.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, and motion moves. All right, under old business, we have none, correct?
Correct.
New business, number 10, A, approval of a development and reimbursement agreement for the River Street Hotel redevelopment project. Do you want to take it from here, or?
Sure. So previously, both the Brownfield Board and City Council approved the Brownfield plan for the River Street Hotel. Typically then there's also a development agreement, which is kind of the mechanism and the framework for which the reimbursements are paid out underneath that Brownfield plan. And this is our standard format. We tweaked it to kind of meet our needs for this particular brownfield plan. The developer had some input. We kind of went back and forth on that a little bit, and we got it all settled. George, the attorney, city attorney, has looked at it, and the developer has actually signed the agreement here. So if this gets approved at our meeting today, then I'll put it on the agenda for city council for their first meeting in April. And I know the developer is anxious to get going. The Act 381 work plan, which I approve administratively with Roman, which is a filing that has to go to the state once you do a brownfield plan, has been completed. I have to finish my review of it. I know the developer's anxious to get that down to the state, so we're gonna try to get that filed as soon as we can as well. And then this project can keep moving along, so. And I do have James Lewis, a representative of the owner on the call, on the Zoom call, as well as Roman, the consultant. So I don't know if you gentlemen have anything to add or not.
Just thanks for all your support, Ed, and putting this agreement together and the work plan. Thanks for all.
Now, he's a developer,
I don't have
right?
any additional comments.
Yeah. Roman, I know Kirk is out this week, so I'm gonna get with you. Are you available tomorrow at all?
I am.
Okay, I'll call you on the work plan and we can get that wrapped up, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, sounds good.
So I don't know if any of the board members have any questions on the development agreement at all, or it's, it was in your packet. It's a fairly, like I say, fairly standard and we try to make them not overly complicated.
I did get a chance to tour the building last week, which was good for me to do, just because I hadn't been in that building since it had been, what was it, Reedmore?
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe it was Reedmore. It looked so old in there. But yeah, it's a great space with amazing potential, and I'm super excited to see it get back into reuse.
And it's a 4 apartment,
Unit.
4 apartments up.
4 units or?
4 units up,
Up.
and then restaurant on the main floor.
Right.
And then in the lower level walkout area to the Riverwalk is where they would put that 5th unit.
I was thinking about that. I saw it when I was reading it about a set of plans. We have not seen any plans to this effect, have we?
Maybe some preliminary ones. Normally that,
The original document we did.
yeah, I think the original one had them in, but the site plan approvals and stuff, that goes through planning and zoning. It doesn't go through.
Oh,
the
yeah, no,
Brownfield. Yeah.
I know, but I was just
And they
wondering,
did,
okay.
Roger, they did give a presentation to city council. I don't remember what the date was. James, do you remember what date you guys presented to city council?
I feel like that was in September. Does that sound right?
Yeah, and after we're done here, after we take the vote on this, or before, if you want, I think I've got the presentation that they gave to city
well,
council. We could put it up on the screen if you wanted to look at it.
Yeah, that's all right. I was just,
Yeah.
The plans that were in the city council presentation are the same in the Brownfield application.
Yeah.
Are the same as the ones we currently have.
all right. Was there anyone have questions?
I mean, I don't know if we discussed this last time. Was there ever any kind of recommendations or determination for parking?
We didn't put anything in this agreement with that. I know,
For site plan review?
well, I think the city manager and the planning and zoning were kind of working on that, so I don't know what the
Course
resolution
last week
was.
for zoning, and they were granted a variance.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the zoning board of appeals they went to, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I thought, yeah. And that's what it was about, the parking?
Yes.
And that's what they got approval?
Yes.
Which gave them right to park on River Street?
Yeah, anywhere people can find parking.
Yeah. Well, I was just wondering if you had 4 units, you're probably looking at 10 cars, well, maybe,
In a restaurant, maybe.
in a restaurant, and then we're all gonna be parking on River Street now. I mean,
Or in the city lot, or
Okay.
side streets.
okay, yeah, no, I'm just trying
And I
to.
think part of that conversation was TJ's doesn't have parking, right?
No, I know, yeah, there's a lot, well, I mean,
Yeah.
right.
Space with-
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of restaurants out there.
No, you're correct,
We
you're
need
right,
parking.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
That's on our board.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Do they have any docks then too, on River?
That I don't know.
I don't think they have dock space, do they, Ed?
These
I mean, the
buildings?
Riverwalk is there. I don't believe that parcel has any type of a lease, riverfront lease on there.
So, no?
No.
Geez, that'd be nice too if you did.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't remember what exactly is on the Riverwalk in front of that building there. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
and the windows weren't busted out on the lower level, so I couldn't see. Otherwise, I'd be able to tell you, 'cause I was just there.
Oh, okay, yeah, any other
Not
questions?
busted out, but they weren't glass, I couldn't see. Yeah, it looks, that's really,
Uh-huh.
I have no other questions.
really high.
No questions here? How about on this end, ladies?
It's kind of is, yeah.
One second.
Hello?
Yes?
Do we have any other questions, or Roman or Jerry?
Oh, I thought you wanted us to make a motion again. I don't have.
No,
any
if we're
other
done,
que-
yeah, we need a motion,
I don't have
correct?
any questions.
That's,
Yep.
yeah. a
Yeah, we need to
motion,
vote
that's what
on
we're
this.
looking for.
Need a motion to
Approve.
Approve the agreement.
the agreement. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the agreement. I'll second it.
And it's second, you got
Kern
that?
seconded.
Shelley and Kern? All right, a discussion over the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and the motion is approved to approve, the agreement, correct?
Correct.
And this person now can continue with his plan.
So the next steps will be, I will put together an agenda item for city council for them, because they have to sign the agreement as well. So they'll approve that or consider that at their first meeting in April.
Oh.
And then once that's approved, and Roman and I work through the last part of the Act 381 work plan and get that submitted, then they can keep going on their process. James, can you give us a quick update as to where you're at with that in terms of the next steps in the process?
Yeah, we've submitted to MEDC for an LOI, and they're pretty much stuck with, they want the 381 work plan before they're gonna give us that LOI.
Okay, yeah, so we should have that review finished up this week and get that down to them.
Perfect. Then at that point, we have to, that allows us really to kick the next phase of design out, work through the historic part two, get that submitted to the state historic preservation, the ship up, and then that goes to the feds. So that kind of starts like a 3-month design and historic review process, which will ultimately have to go back to the MEDC and, for their approval before they disperse funds, and we have to
Who's
confirm
playing
all
with the
our,
video?
Yeah.
so we're looking at probably fall at this point, mid-fall, before construction starts.
And then, so maybe a late spring 2024 opening?
No, it's probably a year.
Okay,
We're missing our spring, summer window we were trying to
Yeah,
hit.
yeah.
It is what it is, so moving forward anyway.
okay. Thank you for that update. Any questions for Mr. Lewis?
Yeah, any questions for Mr. Lewis?
No.
Again, ladies,
Currently, yes.
you two are not sitting together at the next meeting, I'm telling you right now.
You're
Any
not-
questions for Mr. Lewis?
No, there aren't.
He
No.
has to go, he's a busy man. No more, Ed.
Okay, all right. So then we had the amended agenda item for the annual 2024 budget, which I put in front of you. I apologize I didn't get in the packet, it just slipped through the cracks, but I basically said it pretty much the same as we did last year. There's no scientific way of knowing how many brownfield plans we might get in. It is entirely dependent on developer interest. So this kind of assumes that we're gonna do maybe 2 small brownfield plans or possibly 1 big brownfield plan. It just really depends on, what's coming down the pipe. We do have, some consultant time obviously to do that, and then there's a little bit of travel and training in there for me and a little bit for office supplies and publishing, which we typically don't use, but occasionally we have to post stuff for public hearings and what have you. So it pretty much is the same as last year's budget.
So I have a question. What would happen if all of a sudden you had 3 times as many as you planned for? Where
So-
would that get appropriated from?
So they pay for, the developers pay for the work plan and the stuff. So if we have one, they have application fees, and then they have to pay the consultant fees, Fishback, to do the plan. So this always levels itself out. I mean, we haven't had any issues with that.
Okay.
Would you need a motion to approve this budget,
If there aren't any questions, or if there are.
unless there's any questions, if there are any questions?
No
If not,
questions.
then I would entertain a motion to approve the budget for 2024, correct?
Yes.
Hello?
I'll make a motion to
There you
approve
go.
budget.
There you go, second it, you got it?
Yep.
All right. Any discussion?
No.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, all opposed, and it carries. All right, next meeting dates, or staff reports, I'm sorry.
Yeah, staff report. So, couple things to report. On the Hampton Inn, we just got from the state of Michigan, MEDC, the letter of intent for that. They had been asking for CRP grant funding, and I believe, Roman, they got some CRP loan funding, is that correct in the letter? So that helps them out. I think they may be coming back. I don't know this yet. Roman and I haven't had a chance to dialogue. We will tomorrow when we're looking over the 381 work plan for the River Street project, but they may be looking to come back to the Brownfield Authority to see if they can get some interest approved in their Brownfield plan to amend it. We didn't do that. I need to talk to Roman about that, and if they are gonna do that, I wanna make sure that we're getting some of our administrative fees up front, because those are all backloaded in that project. So Roman and I will have a conversation. Do you have any comments on that, Roman? Have you been through that process before where a developer wants to amend the plan and request interest?
Yeah, there won't be a problem with that. It's eligible activities haven't changed. It's just a function of including that. So I don't see any hiccups with it.
So it would have to, if they did request that, it would have to go through the Brownfield Authority, and it would also have to go back to City Council, correct?
It would.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's a few hurdles to get over. I'm not sure how City Council feels about that, but we'll wait till the request comes in and see.
Yeah.
We had an email from Jared Belka, their attorney, said that's probably gonna be coming, but we haven't seen it yet, so. And then, so that's good. I mean, if you've been down there, they're really making progress on getting that put together, and I think they're looking at maybe a June opening, to be able to get there, so. You haven't heard anything different on that, have you, Roman?
No, I have not.
Okay. And then on the Gateway project, we had a coordination meeting. I wasn't able to attend, but Fishback was there. That was last week, right? Towards the end of the week. You want to talk a little bit about what you guys covered in that?
Yeah. So we had a coordinated meeting with the development team, basically their consultant and Eagle, and we walked through the development schedule as of now, what the plan is relative to the work plan submittals that are associated with the grant and loan that the city has. Work plan 4 is basically more assessment work that will be conducted on the property to evaluate vapor intrusion potential and whether or not there would actually need to be vapor barriers and mitigation system constructed beneath a future building. But we did get a little bit of a snapshot overview of what the proposed development will look like. There was discussion about the hotel, boutique hotel, what that might look like, and then kind of going back to original development concepts with buildings on the west end and east end of the south portion of the project area with some parking component centrally located. So there was discussions about that, and the reason that came up was relative to the assessment, environmental assessment that would be necessary for that work. There was also discussion as the Brownfield Authority had raised concern, as well as City Council and the DDA, about the integrity of the property with the fencing and just no activity happening for some time, that there would be topsoil brought in to cover areas that are exposed to demolition, and then having those seeded so that would look appropriate, but also serve due care obligations relative to any exposure related to the known contaminants on those parcels, and then removal of those fenced areas so that it would look more presentable in this interim time window where no development is occurring, and also just allow for prevention of people being exposed to contaminants. So that was discussed in kind of a rough timeline in which assessment would be completed, which if the work plan gets submitted in the next couple weeks, which is the desire, we'll review that on behalf of the Brownfield Authority, and then that would have to take about a month for the Eagle to review that, and then assessment could actually commence to be wrapped up in the summer, and then another work plan prepared to advance next steps relative to that. I think the goal of the development team would be to hopefully have construction start in early 24. Because of the delayed time frame, the grant and loan actually are set to expire here this summer. So there will be an extension that's going to have to be an amendment to the agreement, and an extension proposed for a year. They can only do a year extension, so that would be coming through in the next couple months. And that's something we'll work on with Eagle to finalize that. So I think that's predominantly what was covered.
Roman, you said that they're looking at removing fences and doing some topsoil and some seeding. Any timeline on when that would be done?
There was some out there just a week ago.
Yeah.
They were digging up the top dirt.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, Shadorskis were putting in, my thought would be, who would maintain it if they put on for the grass, the tribal or the city?
They had requested that the city do that, but the city attorney is of the opinion that we can't provide that service to private property owners, so
Yeah,
Maybe
they would
at-
have to either contract for it or get their own person to mow it. I'm not sure what
yeah,
they're gonna
that's
do.
what I mean, okay.
At $2.50 an hour, maybe the city would, once it gets.
Well,
to-
at
Yeah,
10
12
inches, we'd be
inches.
happy to go mow it, right?
Right. You don't want that, Bill.
Yeah.
So are they looking at removing the fences and having that grass growing by summer so we don't have
They
that
want to do it
eyesore?
as soon as they don't want to put the seed down and have it go to waste, but I think they're interested. And then they talked about putting maybe some decorative fencing with rope or something that might look a little bit better. I'm not entirely sure what that plan would be, but did they talk any more details about that, Roman, at the meeting or not?
Yeah, so they did suggest that they were going to be communicating with the DDA on what something like that might, other small shrubs or, something decorative. But I guess the one thing that I just in knowing how this goes in other examples that I've had with other communities is, if those areas aren't watered, that grass can turn into weeds and not really develop much either. So that would be something that, I haven't heard how that would be maintained at all. So that might be something that, city might want to follow up on, but maybe those conversations have already been had.
Well, there's gotta be water lines in there that they could hook up for watering that property.
Maybe. I mean, they took out all the ones from the buildings,
Yeah.
so they'd have to figure that out, I guess.
But yeah, to
I don't-
maintain it,
The
that's right.
proposal was that they weren't planning on watering. I don't think they wanted to deal with an irrigation system, but Roman's right, it might be hard to get the grass established.
Yeah.
If it's hydroseeded, it'll do a little better job, but it generally still needs to be watered, so.
Still have to have water, right. Yeah, what? Huh? Well, as long as it'll look, green grass is better than fences, so, yeah.
Roman, I guess the whole expiration of the grant loan, I think there may be difficult in using all of that if it's a year from summer of 2024, so we're talking summer 2024. I don't know if they'll be in a place, and if they'll have had a chance to use all that up or not. I guess, well, that'll be to be determined.
Exactly, yeah. It's just gonna be a kind of a step-by-step process now that will methodically move through its appropriate phases, but there's concern that the loan, we have to be very cautious with how expenditures are stacked up, making sure that one of the big things was demolition versus environmental costs, and so just making sure that there is a 1-to-1 ratio on that. So there's definitely discussion about making sure that we're following that, and so Eagle has got a nice spreadsheet that tracks all that, so that shouldn't be an issue. But the assessment could reveal, and that was one thing that did come up, they processed all the underground storage tank efforts that the existing property owner has been conducting relative to the former Cadillac site, heating and cooling site, and so those all apply and can be used. This is something that we've kind of been discussing with Eagle, and so that can go against it, but they're just really making sure that consistently monitoring that so that there will be some environmental cost. So if they don't have vapor mitigation issues, that's could be significant amount of funds that would not be expended then.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I've got for staff updates.
Yeah, well, that's enough, I guess. Something to chew on. Okay, next meeting dates. How about that? 2BD.
Yeah, unfortunately,
2BD.
we have no need to meet until we have a need to meet. I mean, there's not like regular, I mean, if we go a really long time, we can have a meeting just to get updates, but I can always do that via email to you as well.
Sure.
So I suspect the next meeting we'll have will be if the Hampton Inn folks want to try to get interest on their Brownfield plan, because that could happen relatively quickly. But in terms of other plans and stuff coming in, we won't know until we start having, conversations with developers, so. I guess maybe we just kind of play it by ear, and does the 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock timeframe work for everybody pretty well? And so, okay.
Yeah, it's all right for me.
Do you know if there are any applications out or any discussions?
For Brownfield stuff, I mean, any one of these projects that's kind of in the pipeline or that we're looking at potentially could require Brownfield.
Okay.
They don't all ask for it, like the Manistee Social or whatever,
Yeah.
the one down by the SS Milwaukee,
Huh?
probably was Brownfield eligible, but they didn't want to do a Brownfield plan, so they're just asking for an Oprah. So kind of depends on the developer's financing, their capital stack, their time frame, and what they want to go through and
Yeah,
do.
it's-
But pretty much any major, like Hotel Northern, if they ever get going, that's probably going to require a Brownfield.
Yeah.
As well as an Oprah, as well as state money. I mean, you just can't do these projects now without that generally, so.
All right, so now you opened a can of worms. This Hotel Northern.
Yeah.
What's the problem with that?
It's a lot of money to get that building fixed. They're trying to make it
But
work.
weren't they approved of anything they wanted when they came to council and?
No, there hasn't been any formal approval of anything down there.
Really?
There's just been conceptual stuff.
I was under the impression they were all set to build.
Oh, no,
Turn
no.
it into apartments.
Well, they do want to do that, but the costs they got to get the costs where they can afford it. And
Well,
now
yeah.
with interest rates going up and,
Oh, yeah.
some of the building supplies have started to come down, but still, if you got that gap,
Expensive though.
yeah, they're not going to pull the trigger until they can make it work.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So I don't think that project is dead, but I think they're still working out the numbers.
That's that right. Well, yeah, I know, it is expensive. All right, but okay with that, then the next meeting is to be deed, so you'll be contacted at your residence. Members discussion, okay. You wanna start, Megan? You got something to discuss?
No, I'm good.
How about you, Sue?
Nothing.
Young lady?
Nope.
And I don't either, I guess. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. And seconded?
I'll second it.
And seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye, aye.
Hi.
And, no, and we're all adjourned. Thank you, Roman. Have a good day.
Hey, Roman.
Thanks, Roman.
Sure, yeah.
Just gotta look at my calendar here. Maybe tomorrow would be good to have a chat.
Maybe
Early
tomorrow would be
afternoon?
good.
What time would work for you?
Better than today.
Just check here.
Thank you, Roger. Always cool.
I've got a meeting
That's
till
always
like
a
1, and
pleasure.
then I'm free from 1 to 4.
And if you all wanna just meet at some point, we can all just meet in case we don't, and don't
How
have
about we do 2 o'clock?
to do a lunch or
And
something.
I'll send you an invite for Teams or something.
With you and
Yeah, there you go.
drink coffee.
Sorry for the last minute meeting invite. It got a little hairy here today, so.
Not a problem. Always works out.
All right, thanks a lot, Roman. Have a good one.
Yep, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well,
True, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, ladies, you have yourself a good one.
Ed, the next meeting, Heather's meeting, is that in here also?
I believe so, yep.
Yep.
Ed, the